Captain Aaron Vale sat alone in the quiet cockpit of the freighter Meridian, his eyes moving over the glowing lines of star charts projected on the holo-display. The hush of empty space felt familiar and safe. He liked the steady hum of the engines and the gentle pulse of the ship's life support. Every day he plotted courses between distant colonies, delivered supplies, and kept to routine. He did not expect surprises. Then the console pinged. A small red light blinked on the COM panel. Aaron frowned. He leaned forward and tapped the sensor readout. The signal was weak and distorted, but it carried words he never thought he would hear again. "Do you remember me? I'm the disabled alien girl you had mate with." The message cut off with static before it could finish. Aaron's heart twisted. He stared at the text floating on the screen. His throat felt dry. Pressed a hand to his chest as if he could hold his racing pulse in place. Memories flooded back from a year ago to a night he had almost forgotten. He had been on an abandoned relay station, investigating strange energy fluctuations. He discovered a single alien survivor, Leah of the Saren people, hurt and alone in the dark halls. Her ship had crashed. She could not walk without help. He remembered the sharp pain in her eyes when she tried to stand. He remembered her soft voice asking for water. He remembered bending down to adjust her injured leg. He remembered how close they had grown that night, two strangers finding comfort in each other's company. Then dawn came, and orders sent him. Away, they parted with promises unspoken, and his life moved on. Now her voice, broken by static, spoke again. Aaron felt guilt and hope battling inside him. He wondered if the message was real or a cruel trick. What did she need? Why reach out now? He ran a hand through his dark hair, his mind spinning. The freighter's usual hum felt too loud. He opened a secure channel. "This is Captain Aaron Vale," he said, voice steady despite his chest tightening. He pressed the transmit button. "Identify yourself." Static crackled. Then her voice, soft but clear enough, said Aaron. Laurel. The name caught in his throat. He remembered the bright glow of her blue eyes, the way her silver hair fell over her shoulder. He almost whispered, "Laurel." "Yes," she said. "I need your help, please." Aaron leaned back, trying to steady himself. He glanced at the star map. The signal came from the Solaris system, a busy orbital hub not far from the human frontier. It was a routine stop for the Meridian. He could change course and arrive in a day's travel. It felt like nothing and everything all at once. He glanced at his reflection in the darkened window. He saw a man caught between duty and an old promise. His hands shook slightly as he shut down the charts and activated the autopilot. The Meridian's engines hummed up, and the ship began to turn. As the stars shifted behind him, Aaron felt a knot of fear and anticipation. He knew that answering this call could change everything he believed about his life and his future. He punched in the command, set a course for Solaris Station, he told the ship. He paused. And Laurel, "I'm coming." The engines roared, and the freighter slid through the emptiness toward its new destination. In the glow of the control panel, Aaron closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered her smile in the dim light of that lonely station. He remembered the warmth of her hand in his. Now, after so long, he would have the chance to see her again. He did not know what awaited him at Solaris Station, danger, hope, or something he could not name, but he knew one thing for certain. He could not ignore her call. As the Meridian slipped into warp, Aaron Vale sat forward and activated the COM one more time. Laurel's message filled the cabin, her voice soft and hopeful. "Thank you for coming." His heart beat faster. The vast, silent darkness outside the viewport felt less empty than before. For the first time in a long while, Aaron Vale felt that his life had real meaning again. The Meridian eased into Solaris Station's docking port with a gentle shudder that echoed through the hull. Captain Aaron Vale stepped onto the metal gangway and felt the station's hum of life wash over him. He paused to steady his breath, remembering Laurel's voice on the COM. The air was warm and recycled, tinged with the scent of engine oil and alien blooms grown in hydroponic bays. He straightened his jacket and walked into the busy concourse, where travelers of dozens of species moved past in a steady flow. Traders called out prices in strange tongues. Robots glided on silent wheels. Aaron felt a nervous flutter in his chest, as if each footstep brought him closer to a promise he had nearly forgotten. He carried his duffel and scanned the signs overhead. Medical bay, hydroponics, commerce hub, residential, quarters. He found the arrows pointing to Sector C, the Sarin Physiotherapy Center. The corridor opened into a bright white lobby where holopanels displayed patient schedules and therapy techniques. A receptionist with pale green skin and 3 eyes glanced up. Aaron approached, cleared his throat, and gave his name. The receptionist's third eye widened. "Captain Vale?" she murmured, checking a tablet. "Lirel sent word you'd come. She is in room 214. Please wait there." Aaron managed a nod, feeling his palms grow damp, and she smiled, warm, knowing, sympathetic, and motioned him down a quieter hallway as he walked past doors labeled Gate Stabilization and Neural Interface. Each one spoke of the long journey Lirel had endured. He pictured her in pain after the crash, grateful for his help as he adjusted her injured leg. He pictured her kindness, how she had touched his hand when she thanked him. His heart ached at the memory. When he reached room 214, Aaron paused outside. The door? He could hear soft, mechanical whirs and a faint melody playing from inside. He took a steadying breath, ran a hand through his hair, and tapped the panel. "Captain Vale?" he said quietly. The door slid open. Inside, the room was softly lit in blue-white hues. A single bed held a figure framed by medical equipment. At first, she did not look like the fierce engineer he remembered, or Silver. Hair was pulled back and her synthetic legs lay neatly on a support rail. But when she turned, her blue eyes met his, and everything fell away. Lirel's expression was a mix of relief, gratitude, and something deeper hope. "Ah!" She sat up, the prosthetics clicking softly. "Aaron," she whispered. His breath caught. He stepped forward, unable to find words. He fumbled, then said, "I got your message. I'm here." Lirel nodded. Her lips curved in a small, strong smile. Her voice was steadier now. "Thank you," she said. "Shh." She paused and motioned to a small table where a holoprojector displayed images of her homeworld's failing crystal and the data she had gathered. "I want you to see why I called you." Aaron leaned in, studying the flickering blue core that pulsed weaker with each cycle. He felt the weight of her plea settle in his chest. He realized in that moment that this was more than a personal reunion. It was a call for help that could save an entire people. He looked up at Lirel, whose gaze held determination despite her vulnerability. He nodded, his decision firming. "I'll help you," he said, voice low but resolute. Relief washed over her face, and she reached out a hand, took it gently. The warmth between them felt like an ember reigniting as he left the room to prepare the Meridian for the new mission. Aaron felt a renewed purpose. Solara Station's bright lights blurred around him, but inside him the memory of Lirel's touch stayed clear and steady. He would gather his crew, retrofit the cargo bay into a lab, and combine human tech with Sarin bioscience. He would honor the bond they forged that night on the relay station by standing with her now. And as the station receded behind him, he knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, this partnership was the spark that would guide them through the darkness. Back aboard the Meridian, Captain Aaron Vale stood in the wide cargo hold that had once carried food rations. Now, the space was crowded with workstations, glowing consoles, and half-assembled machinery. Lirel moved among the equipment, her silver hair tied back, eyes bright with focus. She held a small crystal in her hand, its blue light pulsing unevenly. Aaron watched her carefully place it into a mounting bracket fused to human circuitry.
Ow.
In that moment, he saw her strength shine. Through every careful motion, Irene had gathered a small team of engineers and scientists who believed in the mission. Among them was Mara, a human xenobiologist with gentle hands and a warm laugh. And Sira, a mechanical expert from the Tarlin system, known for his precise mind. They all listened intently as Lirel explained the Sarin crystal's energy patterns. Aaron translated technical terms into plain language when needed. Each time their eyes met, he felt a spark of understanding pass between them. He remembered the nights they had shared on the relay station, now replaced by long hours of collaboration. The group divided tasks. Mara prepared samples of sarin biomatter, while Sarah tested the structural supports for the device. Irel calibrated the crystal's resonance, and Aaron oversaw the integration of human power cells. They worked side by side, leaning close over soldering irons and holodisplays. At times, the work grew frustrating. Crystal's energy faltered. Under stress tests, loose wire sparked and sent a flash across the console. Lirel's hands trembled as she reached to steady a delicate connector. Aaron placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. She looked at him, vulnerability showing for a moment before her resolve returned. She nodded and set to work again. Late in the meridian cycle, the team took a break. They gathered around a small table covered with synth tea and snack bars. Lirel told stories of sarin festivals where light danced across crystal plazas and music filled the air. Aaron shared tales of human childhood camping under Earth's stars, feeling the cold wind and warm fireside stories. Mara and Sira listened, smiles wide as music of two worlds wove between them. In the gentle glow of the break room, Aaron saw how far they had come. He reached across and lifted Lirel's hand. Her synthetic fingers curled around his. He felt the careful balance of hope and fear inside both of them. Recharged, they returned to work. Aaron and Lirel stood at the main console as the prototype device powered on for the first test. The blue crystal glowed softly within its human-made shell. Aaron monitored the readouts: energy flow, temperature, resonance, frequency. The numbers wavered, then steadied. Lirel held her breath. Aaron glanced at her face and offered a small, reassuring smile. The crystal's pulse grew stronger and more regular. A soft hum filled the lab, gentle but full of promise.
Our
First success, Lirel whispered. Her voice trembled with relief. Aaron felt pride swell in his chest. He nodded. This is only the beginning, he said. His words echoed softly off the metal walls. He turned to the team, and they shared a quiet cheer. It was the moment they realized their combined knowledge could achieve what neither species could do alone. As the prototype stabilized, Lirel stepped closer to Aaron. She placed her hand on his arm, her touch warm and alive despite the cool metal of her prosthetics. Thank you, she said, for believing in me, in us. Aaron looked into her blue eyes and felt a deep connection, stronger than any signal the Meridian could detect. He took her hand in his. I believe, he replied simply. The rest of the team packed away tools. Aaron and Lirel lingered by the glowing crystal. Beyond the lab's reinforced window, stars blurred past as the Meridian traveled toward distant systems. Inside, two hearts beat in quiet harmony, hopeful, determined, and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they had taken the first true step toward saving a civilization and forging a bond that would carry them across the galaxy. Lirel led Aaron down a narrow corridor of the sarin vessel that hovered beside the Meridian. The ship's walls pulsed with soft blue light, as if alive. Every panel and circuit was woven from crystal and metal, a testament to her people's skill. Aaron felt both awe and humility as he followed her footsteps. He could still hear the crystal's hum in his mind, and he braced himself for what lay ahead. They reached a tall doorway etched with glowing symbols. Lirel pressed her hand against the panel, and the door slid open with a gentle hiss. Inside was a chamber filled with floating crystal shards and a massive, central Koran energy crystal larger than Aaron's torso, its light flickering weakly. Vines of dark crack formed across its smooth surface. The chamber's air was warm, heavy with the scent of ozone. Adin approached the crystal, his eyes wide. What happened? He asked softly. Lirel's voice trembled with pain as she explained. Our planet's heart crystal was wounded in a meteor storm. The damage spread slowly, sapping energy from our world. She paused, her gaze fixed on the dimming glow. If it fails completely, our cities will lose power. Our healing temples will fall silent. Our people will suffer. Aaron placed a hand on the railing and felt the core's low pulse. Lirel showed him data streams projected from her wrist console. Charts and images detailed how the crystals Resonance was out of tune with her planet's frequency. She pointed to jagged lines on the graph. We need a hybrid device to stabilize it, something that blends human tech with Sarin biocrystal. We tried, but our best minds could not bridge the gap. Her shoulders shook, and Aaron saw tears shimmer in her blue eyes. He swallowed hard, moved by her courage and the weight on her shoulders. He stepped closer to her side. "We will find a way," he said, voice firm. She looked up, hope and doubt mingling in her gaze. Aaron studied the crystal's surface. Saw faint energy fractures running deep. He remembered their prototype aboard the Meridian. "That device we built had proved our work can succeed," he said gently. "With more time and resources, we can adapt it to your core." Lirel's tears fell now, silent and bright in the crystal's glow. She nodded, pressing her hand against his. Aaron turned to the control console and accessed the ship's archives. He downloaded schematics of the Meridian's hybrid stabilizer and compared them to Sarin engineering plans. Lirel hovered beside him, guiding him through alien symbols and ancient runes. They worked without speaking, their minds synchronized. By shared purpose, the silence between them was sacred, filled with unspoken understanding and trust. After moments that felt both long and fleeting, Aaron straightened. He printed a new plan on a small halo projector. The design showed reinforced conduits woven into crystal lattice and human power cells tuned to Sarin resonance. "This is our plan," he said, pointing to each module. Lirel traced the lines with her finger, her expression shifting from worry to resolve. "We can begin immediately," she said. They left the chamber side by side, determination warming their hearts. In the corridor, Lirel paused and looked at Aaron. "Thank you for believing," she whispered. Aaron met her gaze. "You saved me that night," he replied softly, "and let me help save your world." As they returned to the Meridian, the weight of Lirel's secretand, the hope it carried, settled between them. The starlight outside the viewport seemed brighter than before. They both knew the road ahead would be difficult, but they would face it together. In that moment, Aaron and Lirel felt a bond stronger than any crystal one forged in shared purpose, respect, and something more powerful still, hope. Early the next cycle, Aaron and Lirel returned to the Meridian's lab. Sunlight from Solaris Station's orbit glowed through the viewport. The hybrid stabilizer parts lay organized on workbenches. Lirel guided Aaron's hands as he soldered delicate conduits into the crystal lattice frame. Each connection had to be perfect. When a joint sparked, he held his breath. Lirel placed a steadying hand on his arm and whispered, "Gentle," and he breathed easier. They worked side by side through the Meridian's shifts. Mara tested power cell outputs while Sira ran simulations on structural integrity. Aaron and Lirel double-checked every diagram. At times, frustration flared, conduit misaligned and bent under stress. Lirel knelt to realign it, her prosthetic hands moving with practiced precision. Aaron knelt beside her and offered a fresh tool. Their eyes met in gratitude. In that moment, words were not needed. They shared a bond of respect and trust. By the 15th hour, the new stabilizer stood complete. It gleamed with polished metal and glowing crystal veins. Aaron held it carefully, feeling its gentle hum. Lirel smiled, eyes bright. "It's beautiful," she said. Aaron looked at her, heart light. "It's our work," he replied. She nodded and placed her hand on his chest. He felt her warmth through the fabric of his jacket. The moment was quiet and sacred, charged with hope. They prepared launch coordinates for Lirel's homeworld, the Sara. The Meridian slipped from Solaris Station and dove into warp space. Inside the lab, Lirel placed the stabilizer into a protective transport cradle. Aaron and the team monitored cabin pressure and gravity fields to ensure safe arrival. With every blink of the indicator lights, Lirel's pale face grew more determined. She pressed a finger to the transport panel. "Ready," she said. When the Sara's purple skies filled the viewport, the Meridian slowed to sublight. The planet looked wounded from orbit. Dark storms circled where the crystal's power had waned. Aaron guided the ship into a gentle descent toward the central city, Crystal Spire. People and sky gliders paused in midair looking up. Lorel's eyes filled with sadness. She touched the viewport, silent for a moment. Aaron put a hand over hers. "We're here," he said softly. They landed on a broad plaza of cracked crystal tiles. Saren healers and engineers greeted them with anxious faces. Lorel stepped forward, carrying the hybrid stabilizer. Aaron stayed close. He watched her lift the device with steady hands. The crowd parted, letting her pass. She climbed the steps to the grand chamber where the heart crystal waited. Aaron followed, feeling the weight of every gaze. His chest tightened, but he kept his steps calm. Inside the chamber, the giant crystal pulsed faintly. Its glow was uneven, like a fading heartbeat. Lorel placed the stabilizer at its base. Aaron knelt to activate the human power cells. Blue energy shafts reached up to meld with the core's veins. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a low vibration filled the air. Stabilizer hummed louder, and the crystal's glow steadied. Light spread along the fractures, sealing cracks like living veins. Lorel let out a breath she had held. Tears of relief glimmered in her eyes. Aaron knelt beside her and took her hand. Around them, Saren engineers cheered softly. He looked up at the now steady glow of the heart crystal. The room felt bright and warm. Lorel leaned her head on Aaron's shoulder. He wrapped an arm around her, feeling her gentle weight. Together, they watched the crystal's restored pulse. In that moment, Aaron realized how far they had come from. Strangers on a broken station to partners who saved a world. He pressed a kiss to Lorel's hair, and she smiled against him. Their hearts beat in time with the crystal's renewed rhythm. Outside, the Sara's sky cleared, and the first warm sunlight of hope washed over them. The future felt wide open, and together, they would shape it. The morning after the stabilizer's success, the Sara Central Plaza bloomed with life. Crystal lanterns hung from soaring arches, and soft music drifted through the air. Siren citizens and human crew mingled in joyful celebration. Aaron Vale stood beside Lorel on a carved stone dais. He wore a simple tunic offered by Saren tailors. She wore a wreath of glowing flowers. As the crowd cheered, Aaron felt pride and humility wash over him. He saw children laugh beneath the lantern light, and elders clap in quiet joy. In that moment, he knew their work had stirred hope across a whole world. After the ceremony, Aaron and Lorel walked side by side through the restored plaza. Citizens paused to thank them. A young Saren engineer bowed deeply and presented Lorel with a small crystal pendant etched with Aaron's name. A human scientist from the Meridian pressed Aaron's hand in gratitude, eyes bright with tears. Each greeting felt like a promise that two peoples would stand together from now on. As they moved among the crowd, Aaron glimpsed Lorel's soft smile, and he knew she felt the same bond. They paused at the edge of the plaza where fountains of liquid light danced. Lorel placed her hand on Aaron's shoulder. "We saved my world," she said, voice full of wonder. Aaron nodded, his heart heavy with the weight of her words. "And you saved me," he answered. Silence settled between them, warm and deep. The noise of celebration faded, and Aaron felt the steady beat of Lorel's heart through her synthetic limbs, sensors. He held her hand and whispered, "Together, we can do even more." Lyra led him to a hidden garden just beyond the city walls. Here, crystal vines climbed marble pillars, and biolamps glowed with soft blue light. The scent of alien flowers filled the air. Aaron reached out to touch a petal that felt cool and smooth, alive with energy. Lorel explained how her people had once lived in harmony with these plants, drawing nutrition and power from their roots. Aaron listened, amazed by the delicate balance of life around them. He felt like a guest in a living poem. As twilight fell, the Meridian's crew joined them for a small feast in the garden. Tables of fruit and spiced dishes circled the dancers. Human and Saren musicians played rhythms that wove together human drums and crystal chimes. And Aaron stood in the center, caught up in a slow dance. Aaron held her close and felt the gentle weight of her against him. He remembered the lonely nights on his ship and realized how empty they had been. Now he had purpose, friendship, and something more he dared only to name. Later, under a sky of violet clouds, Aaron shared stories of Earth's festivals holidays, filled with firelight, songs, and family bonds. Lirel listened with bright laughter, tracing patterns in his hair with her fingers. She taught him a Saren greeting, pressing their palms together and bowing. Aaron mimicked her, and they both laughed at the awkwardness of a human adapting. It was a small moment of joy and learning, proof that two cultures could merge in kindness and curiosity. Just as the night's warmth settled into a hush, Aaron's come panel lit with a new signal. He excused himself and stepped away. Lirel watched him with concern as he decrypted the message. His brow furrowed when he read the text. A distant world in crisis, its people facing extinction without aid. The tone echoed the very plea that had brought him to Lirel. Looked up, his eyes meeting hers in the dim glow. Lirel closed the distance and placed her hand on his arm. "Another call for help?" she asked softly. Aaron nodded, his heart tightening. "They sound like you did," he said. "They need us." A hush fell over the garden as the music faded. Lirel gave a small, determined smile and squeezed his hand. "Then we go," she said. Together they turned toward the stars. In the quiet, Aaron felt the same mix of fear and hope he had the first time he answered Lirel's message. But now, he was not alone. With her by his side, he knew they could face any darkness. Above them, the violet sky opened onto a field of stars, waiting for their next journey. The new distress signal came from the planet Valora, a small world on the edge of explored space. Aaron Vale guided the Meridian into orbit above its green and gold surface. Lirel stood beside him at the command console, her blue eyes reflecting the swirling storms below. Together, they reviewed the report. Valara's weather grids had failed, and entire regions faced drought or flood. The planet needed a plan and fast. As the ship descended, Aaron felt the familiar knot of purpose tighten. In his chest, Lirel placed a hand on his arm, steadying him. "We'll help them," she said softly, nodded, drawing strength from her conviction. They had learned so much working together how human tech and Saren bioscience could blend. Whatever Valora needed, they would find a way. When they stepped onto Valora's landing pad, they were greeted by Governor Saran, a tall, earnest leader with deep concern in her eyes. He bowed respectfully to Lirel, then shook Aaron's hand firmly. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Our people are desperate. Please guide us." Lirel offered him a gentle smile, and Aaron saw the hope spark in Saran's gaze. Inside the local command center, they found chaos on holomaps, rainstorms flooding eastern plains, drought in the west. Engineers and scientists worked tirelessly, but their systems were outdated and failing. Aaron moved to the main console, while Lirel knelt beside a Saren-built moisture structure. She studied its designs and whispered suggestions. Aaron translated her ideas to the Valoran team. Together they sketched a hybrid solution, human climate regulators fused with Saren water-sensing crystals. Over days of long hours, the Meridians. Crew and Valoran specialists labored in a makeshift workshop. Lirel taught the crystal calibration methods she perfected on the Sara. Aaron oversaw the installation of human control circuits. When a prototype module failed under testing, they did not despair. Lirel sat beside a young Valoran engineer and guided her hands. Aaron stood close, offering words of encouragement. Their teamwork inspired everyone in the room. Late one evening, with storm clouds gathering overhead, the final regulator unit powered on. Blue veins of crystal glowed as water moved back into parched soils and floodwaters receded. Sky cleared in a brilliant dawn. The Valoran engineers cheered. Lirel's smile was brighter than any star, and Aaron felt warmth bloom in his chest. He reached for her hand. She closed her fingers around his governor. Governor Saran invited them to a simple celebration under Valora's twin moons. People danced around bioluminescent trees, and music from every culture blended into a gentle harmony. Aaron and Lirel stood together, tired but joyful, as children wove flower crowns from local blooms. He watched Lirel laugh with a small child offering her a wreath. Her joy was like light, and he felt honored to share it. That night, under the shimmering moons, Aaron and Lirel walked along a quiet path. He stopped and turned to her. "We've saved 2 worlds now," he said softly. She looked up at the sky, her voice gentle. "And there are more out there." He reached for her face and brushed a strand of silver hair away. "And we'll help them too," he promised. As dawn broke on Valara's horizon, the Meridian prepared for departure. The Valoran people lined the landing field to bid farewell. Governor Saran clasped both their hands. "You've given us hope," he said. Laurel and Aaron exchanged a look, pride, love, and readiness for what lay ahead. The engines roared, and the ship lifted into the sky. In the glow of the control room, Aaron placed his hand over Lirel's S. He felt her warmth and steady pulse. Beyond the viewport, the stars awaited their next call. Together, they traced a course toward distant worlds in need of help. And as the Meridian slipped into the silence of space, 2 hearts beat in harmony, ready to carry hope across the galaxy.